Hello, and welcome to the crazy thoughts of a Brit and a Texan. I'm joined by a different Texan tonight. This is my friend, and I've done a couple of paranormal investigations with him. This is Michael Koch. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing better now. We got this figured out, dude. It's only took us what, like 35 minutes.
I
So
know.
maybe I should have started this at like 7:30 instead of 8 o'clock. It's like eight. What time is it? Like 8:40 right now.
8:40.
Yeah, so it took us like 40 minutes, but I'm trying a new format. I've got something called StreamYard. So this is the first time using it and it seems to be going just fine. Amanda said it's finally working. Yay.
Yep. Now,
Okay.
hopefully, everybody comes over and checks it out.
I'm hoping so. I mean, it's 40 minutes late, so I don't blame them if they don't. But here's the thing,
No.
new technology, all that good stuff. Just technology in general sometimes can be a pain in the backside, right?
Yep. And this is what happens on investigations too. Is you'll have everything geared to go, and then all of a suddenly there's a hiccup, and you have to figure out real quick how to fix it.
Yeah, you have to kind of think on your toes, right? You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
yeah, so we're finally in, and so you've done Broken Bow how many times?
3 times.
3 times. I've been there twice. Um, so for me, um, the first time I'll be honest with you, dude. We've already talked to the what's the lady called?
Ashley.
Ashley. We already talked to Ashley about it. The first time I went, it was it's kind of dead, if I'm honest with you. But the second time I went though, Michael, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, I have fun telling people how you were like, dude, don't leave me alone, dude. Step back over that threshold.
I don't know what it is with like people just wanting to leave me on my own. It's like not something I want to do. It's crazy. So
Nah, I wasn't leaving you on your own. I went in the hallway attached to the room, and you were like freaking out that I was in the hallway.
well, yeah, because you left me in the room on my own. Which, by the way, I had runes on my arm. I swear down, it was runes. It looked like runes. It basically looked like something from that bloody pentagram that they had on the floor, dude.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the runes were, but yeah, it was kind of funny because a lot of people I would be showing them how the camera started creating the black lines like you would see on a VCR bad tape,
And you,
and they were
sorry.
like, "Oh, that's his flashlight." I said, "Yeah, but if you go to this point, you see his flashlight on his hand, and the camera doesn't do the bars. But the second you mention the word scratch, the bars start. And
Yeah,
then when
see,
you
and
said, look, they're fading, then it returned. It's like
wow.
they did not want the scratches seen.
And so that video that we've got on our Facebook page right now, which we're grateful, which you were great, you were gracious enough to let us have the video. Um, on that video, is that footage on that video?
It is.
Okay, perfect. So if you want to see Andy's scratches that or lack of scratches in that video, uh, check us out. I mean, it's on there for you. I mean, so what do you think on that? I mean, has your camera ever done that before?
No, it was like completely strange to me. I mean, I've had it to where it would like flicker, and I haven't been able to explain that either, to where it's like the IR camera just blinks. It goes, you can see an image, then it's completely black back to the image. I'm like, I don't know what caused the blink. That's strange. I've had it do the bars on your scratch both times we talked about it. And that was the only time it happened. That's what's so odd too about it. because you were shining your flashlight around a lot. So if the flashlight didn't only come in contact with the camera, talking about the scratches, and I've had it to where it seems like it's not recording because I was looking at it and the screen on the inside the camera, just the view screen goes black. And I feel like I tip the camera down and then it restores it. But I found out it still records, even though I can't see what it's recording. It's still recording. But I've never had the bars.
So you don't think it was the camera? You think it was something?
I think it was something interfering with it.
So when you said something interfering, do you think it may have been spirit, or do you think it may have been something to do with the area that we was in?
I think it could be a little of both, because the energy of the building does have an impact, and the spirits, feed and interact with that energy, and obviously that energy, we're trying to build up and use as well to communicate with them.
I'm gonna cut you off real quick. We did not need to build any energy up in that building that night.
No. Okay, so to set the story, it was really funny. If you watch the video, you'll hear Andy goes, and he's like, "This is 5 minutes, dude," and the K2's already going nuts. So it literally was, we had just started, and Ashley said, "Hey, go check out this room." And so she showed us which room and left. And unbeknownst to us, there was someone in the building with us, but we never heard him. He said he heard us, but the sounds that we were hearing and everything could not be attributed to him.
Right. So I want to clarify a little bit more on the K2. So you said that night that you'd never seen anyone use the K2 like that, right?
No, what it was is I said I don't like using the K2 because I don't usually get a lot with it.
Right.
And so I kind of was like, after seeing what we were getting, I started saying, there is something to this K2. I think after all, because I've gone on investigations and had the K2 out, nothing.
I never really got
does anything at all at night. All the other equipment's going off.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, do I want to bring this thing out and carry it around?
Well, maybe Andy's onto something, right? Is that what you're thinking? Maybe Andy's actually onto something.
Well, I'm thinking that the way we talk with the spirits there, that they start using what's around to communicate, and
right,
they were wanting to chat. Now, I have been to places to where everybody will say, "Oh, I got this, I got that," and I'm like, I had nothing.
Yeah, no,
and so I think it all has to do with who the spirits are feeling resonation with and want to communicate with, and who they're comfortable.
You know what sucks? Who they're more comfortable with normally is me. Everyone else around me is like oblivious of what's going on around me. So just to clarify what I was using the K2 for. So we had a seat. Was it a seat?
Yeah, there was a chair.
Table.
Yeah, I think it was on a desk chair. I think it was like a desk or something.
So I had a K2 with me, and I said, Michael, and Vincent, I'm gonna use the K2. So I got the K2, and the way I was using the K2, and I think this is what you said, you've never seen anyone use it like this before. So when I put the K2 down, I was asking for yes and no answers on the K2. And the K2 was responding, right? We was definitely getting responses, and it was responding to the questions.
And at first, it seemed like it was only responding to you. And then it seems like Vincent and I a couple of times asked the right question the right way and got a response, but then it would go quiet again and you'd say something and it'd light up again.
Well, yeah, because for some reason that night, like I said, the first time I ever went there, I was like, yeah, I've been to scarier places, and then the second night was like, all right, you think you're big and hard, and we're going to show you what we can do, right? That's basically
Yeah.
what they did that night. So
Now,
the
the thing
first
I
room,
love about this place, to piggyback on that, is with this being my third time, the first time I went, there was a rubber bone prop manifested out of thin air and thrown in a room because Ashley was there and she's like, that's not even supposed to be in this room. And it went flying by her, sitting on the floor, and hit something really hard to where I froze. And then we
oh wow,
finally turned around and turned lights on and seen what it was because we all were like, what just happened? I
wow,
had never had that happen before, something being thrown in a room. So I was like frozen, going, okay, what do I
yeah,
do? Then the
I have,
second time I went to Broken Bow, it's kind of like you were saying. I was like, yeah, I seen some stuff with other groups, but when I went off on my own, it kind of felt dead, so to speak. It was quiet. And then going with you, we had a different experience with the ping pong ball.
so before we get into that story, so we did a thing to no, actually, let me go back a minute because that's going into the next story. So, what do you think about working with me? I wanna get your comments on working with me because like we've worked together 3 times now.
Yeah.
I
Um,
mean, so
like I said, when we were on the site and we were talking just on the side, I don't even think it made the recordings, but I was like commenting that, yeah, you have a habit of asking a question and then you like get right on to like the next question, or you make a sound and you don't give him a chance. And I was like, dude, you gotta quiet a little bit and give him a chance to answer. You're like, no, that's what I was trying to do. And I was like, and it didn't seem like it to me. And then it's like, I sat back and then I was like, the rest of the night, we kind of went back in and did our own thing.
yeah, I mean, I
And
think
it was like, I could see a little bit of the difference, but at the same time, I like working with you because you, I feel like you antagonize
I
in
would
a
say
way,
I
but not in a bad way. It's like you'll engage them like you would anybody else. It's like you're
right.
watching a real life conversation between two people, except there's only one person there.
See, that's what frustrates the hell out of me when I'm working with people. Like they're just like, for example, my wife Amanda. She just has no clue. Bless her heart. She just has no feelings or anything towards spirits. Like, and to the point where she's got a nickname, Michael. Do you want to know what a nickname is?
Well, does she want it known on
Oh,
live?
everybody already knows it.
All right.
So this goes back to Beach Army Hospital, which we're not talking. Well, we kind of are talking about that tonight, but
I've been
she
there once.
basically, yeah, she basically blocks everything. So we call her cock block.
That's funny.
on a on a spirit side of things, she's the cock block.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
So yeah,
Oh, she commented to
I
you.
saw that. I saw that. So yeah, no. So I'm not used to. So the difference in techniques. Let me talk about difference in techniques from a British side of things to the American side of things. There is a big difference in techniques.
Oh yeah.
So where I come from, like, so I've noticed Americans are like, oh, I need all the equipment. I need a REM pod. I need K2s. I need SLS cameras. I need portals, which, by the way, I've got a portal on the K2. I
I
think
don't
the
have the
K2's,
portal.
yeah. So, which is an SB7 with, a speaker. But the difference in the techniques that I'm used to compared to you guys, and it's taken me a minute to adjust. I think that's the problem. Like, you like EVP recording, right?
I try to do it, but I'm not usually successful. So I just film, and if I get, I get. If I don't really seek it. But
Right.
I try if I feel something in the area.
So going back to one of the things that you said about, like, I'm asking a question, I'm pausing for maybe 2 to 3 seconds, and then asking another question. That's because I'm not used to. I should be, but I'm not. We just have two totally different techniques. So my main equipment when I go on a paranormal investigation, which, by the way, I'm looking into getting a camera. My main piece of equipment, first of all, is a bloody flashlight. That's the first piece of equipment that you should ever get when you're paranormal investigating.
That is the quintessential piece.
That's the only piece of equipment that I agree in. And the second piece of equipment is yourself, Michael. Yourself,
Yeah.
you yourself, even if you're not connected to spirits, you can still feel the difference. Let's say you go in a room and you go, "Oh, I don't like this." You know something's wrong with that room, right?
Right.
That is the difference between the American side of paranormal investigating versus the British side of paranormal investigating. Because when I was on a team in England, we had a flashlight, a camcorder, and a body. We had no equipment. The way we was communicating with spirits is through tapping, which you saw that night. I was crazy about trying to get taps, right?
Yep.
And that's the British form of doing it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we was getting responses too, right?
We were.
So spirits can communicate through taps. And that's one of the biggest things that we used in England. So it's just a difference of investigation types. And that's all it is. Like, I don't rely too much on equipment. I like the K2 because now I've got it to where I can get yes/no answers.
Yeah. And see, the thing I think that we work well together is because if you remember, after you had asked me that and I told you, I said, but that's just my opinion. So it's not like I was telling you you had to do it that way. I was like, that's just my.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I was like, if that's your way, then that's fine. It's like, I was
Yeah.
like, great, cool.
But I know
I'm open to it.
I know sometimes I can get on people's nerves because they are, like, for example, if we was working with the guy that kind of looks like Zach Bagans, what's his name? You was at the Tri-Fest thing with him on Saturday. Justin's friend.
Oh, Kellen.
Yeah, Kellen. I know he likes to get EVPs. It might not be a good idea me working with him because I'm just not, like, I'm not used to having big pauses. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's the other thing that people don't realize is we're not like when we say pause, a lot of people feel like you're waiting like a minute. It's like, no, it's like 12, 13, like maybe 10, 12 seconds.
Right.
It's not a long pause. It's just a quick little, just like you're being respectful and saying, okay, I know it's taking, you have to build up energy because you're probably not used to this. We're assuming they have to build up energy and trying to be considerate so we don't talk over them.
Right. And I find
That's
that
the
difficult.
only thing, yeah, is why we here take the pauses. We're like trying to like actually say we're having a conversation and not talking over the other person.
Right.
I mean,
But I just find that difficult, though, for me, myself, because, again, when I'm doing an investigation, I'm getting bombarded.
yeah.
I'm getting. You saw it.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of it myself is there are times like I'm feeling something and I'm like I'm asking a question and I'll be like maybe 3 seconds and I'll be like, asking another question, and I'm like, in the back of my mind going, oh crap, I forgot to pause. But then I'm like, no, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to just keep following with my instincts. And if I talk over it, hey, I talk over it. But
Yeah.
you got to follow your instincts when you're investigating.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And my instincts are, I'm pretty sure you said on one occasion you like working with me because I'm fun.
Yeah. See, well, okay, the story behind that is when I first started with Dirty South, they brought me out. I was brought up to where when you do something, you do it professionally, you do it, the bet, you put your best foot forward. And, and so I'm sitting here as an investigator being straight laced. If somebody says don't talk, I don't talk, I don't move. I was being so stiff and everything that I would hardly get anything. And I was like, man, all these places seem dead to me that I was going, and everyone's having all these reactions. And I'm like, I'm not really getting anything. I don't get it. And I started watching the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, like their Haunted Live and a lot of their shows. And I saw one episode where one of them hid in a shower behind a curtain, and the new guy walked in and they scared the hell out of him, and they all started laughing and going, we just had to haze and break you in, we had to have some fun.
Right.
And it's like, in that moment I was like, oh my god, that's the thing I'm missing. I'm not having fun. And the second I started having fun on investigations and letting go and being more loose, the more I started getting.
Right. And so whenever I'm doing an investigation, let's say if I'm doing an investigation and I'm working with a group of people that's never done investigations before, right? I try, whenever I'm doing the investigation, to make people feel comfortable, because when we're investigating, I agree, let's be professional first of all, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you have to be like you just described yourself. I like to have fun with my guests. If I have guests with me, I bring them in and I have a laugh with them. But when we need to be serious, we're serious. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I tend to find that whenever you create energy like the laughter and stuff like that, just like you said, you start to get more activity.
Right.
So and just like that.
One of the ways that I found that I started breaking into bringing the fun into it would be as you're filming, people are talking around you. Instead of going, hey, hush, I'm recording, I would just turn to them and just laugh and say, I don't edit my footage and I'm recording right now. So everything you're saying is being recorded. And people would be like, what? I'd be like, hey, this is an investigation. Stuff's gonna get recorded.
Yeah.
So
that second time you saw the difference with, like, me and Vince, we went in there, we were just laughing and chuckling. You were laughing and chuckling with us. But while we were laughing and chuckling, I think we're all pretty professional because we're all trying to debunk what we was getting.
Right. And we were never laughing at someone. We were always laughing about something that happened. There's a difference there.
Yeah, it's more because I do something stupid or I say something stupid. I mean, for example, no, I'll give you that one later. There's a good one that I did at Fort Walters and I didn't even think about it. But anyway, so the first room that we went to, I want to tell people what you did to me. I wasn't impressed. So we're getting K2 hits and we're getting yes, no, and this, that, and other. And Vincent decides in the room to his right, there's like a little duck through where you can go through into the next room.
Right.
And then you got the hallway. So so Vincent disappears. I'm sat in the room and I'm watching my K2. And then I turn around and guess what? Michael's in the hallway. I'm sat there on my own. But what makes it worse is, and Ashley verified it, the room across from us used to be the morgue.
Right.
And I was telling you there was someone stood across from us, and you're like, and I got to the point where I was almost sat on top of you. in that hallway because you left me on my own.
Yeah, I was still in visual of him. Let me clarify this. He wasn't like couldn't see, so if something was to happen, I could see and react and still get to you.
I
Like if
was
they
left.
pushed you or something, but
I don't care if we're 6 feet apart. If we're not in that same room, it's safety in numbers, Michael.
no,
Safety
I
in
know.
numbers.
I think too. I was just seeing what would happen. If because you were saying "Don't leave me alone," and I thought you were kidding at first because you would kind of chuckle when you said it.
That's
And
a
so
nervous
I
laugh.
walked out into the hallway, and you go, Michael, you just left me. And I'm like, I'm right here.
No,
I
no.
didn't leave you. And it's like, okay. And then, yeah, we started sticking together more. And
I'm out. I tell you, you can't leave me on my own in a place like that. It's just I just have too much going on.
yeah, and
So
see,
I
for
love.
me, I'm not like, at the same time, I'm not like leaving you alone. It's if I'm sensing something, my nature is go and see because I'm sensing something for a reason, something's there. And so I'm
Right.
going to see what's going on there, and I'm not paying attention to who's following me, who's not.
So I agree with John Martin. John Martin said safety in numbers, and that's my motto too. It's just
Yes.
safety in numbers. And
Hey, Rooster.
so for me, Rooster, how you doing, buddy? For me, yeah, that just I don't like being left on my own. And if you're sensing something, if I'm sensing something, don't get me wrong. If I've got people with me, I'm good. But if I'm in that room on my own and I'm sensing something, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm totally out. So I mean, the first room was pretty cool. Other than I got scratched.
That was actually
I,
the second room you got scratched.
that was the first room. That's where we were getting the
Mm-mm.
K2 hits.
You got scratched when we met up with Vincent in the room that he ducked under, if
Oh,
you
that's right.
remember.
Yeah, I do. I apologize. I got that wrong. That's my bad. So yeah, the second room was where I got scratched. And what kind of creeped me out, I'm sure on that video you can hear the audio. I'm like, that looks like an E,
Yeah.
and it looked like it almost looked like one of them symbols that was on
Yeah, it wasn't a
the
claw.
pentagram.
It's not like something took nails and just went down your arm and
It's
scratched.
almost like a brand, is what I want to say it will look like.
I think they was trying to get a message out, and apparently it was just for you, because
Well, they can fuck off. They're not using my hands. Oh, this is rated R, by the way, so don't worry about it. Forgot to warn you about that one.
No, that's fine. Yeah, because I found it interesting that Regina, we were in the Broken Bow Asylum. There's a room in the back corner that had a duck under to another room. So Vincent went through the duck through, and Andy and I went around and met Vincent through another doorway. I went through the handsy path, and Andrew just went through the door, I think.
Yeah, I like climbing through stuff. As long as there ain't no tarantulas and stuff down there, I'm good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all
But
in
yeah,
all,
I mean, it was interesting because it's like I could see it faintly, and I was like, I could see like it looked like symbols, or yeah, some of it looked like could be letters. And it wasn't like it was super deep either. It was like a light kind of scratch to me.
yeah, I mean, to
And
me,
it just, for some reason, they did not want it filmed. Whatever it was not meant to be filmed.
I would agree with that statement. I would be interested to talk to Vincent now and see what Vincent got from that. Because I think Vincent did film it too, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't actually had a chance to talk to him much since we investigated that place. So after we got scratched, we went outside, right? Had a quick break.
Right. We took a break, and That's when Ashley was smiling and she said to us, "So how was it?" I said, and I'll never forget. I think it was when the first time you like really cracked me up outside. You actually went up to her and you said something in there was fucking with me, and I was like, "Wow, you just like went there. You didn't like go, hey, yeah, I was feeling this or that. You were like, you just laid it out." And she laughed and goes, "Yeah, I told the spirits to do that." And I was like, "Oh man, yeah, they did it."
No, they definitely did, and that's part of being British. I don't sugarcoat anything, Michael. You should know that by now.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
That's
I'm.
part of the
I'm.
fun of it. Is it's like you. I'm like half the time I'm sitting there going in my head going, "Oh man, how's Andy gonna react to this? This is gonna be epic. I want to make sure I get this on film."
Yeah. So yeah, I don't tend to sugarcoat anything. After that, we went back inside, right? And I think
Uh, I think after that we all went back in, and that's when we sat in the room and started asking the dowsing rod questions.
right. So I mean, that part was kind of quiet for me. You know what was weird though? We kept it, and so just to set the stage, the broken bow is one floor. It's just a ground floor. That's it.
Right,
There is
it's a
no floors
U-shaped
above us.
building. No, it's
Yeah.
a single story U shape.
So what I will say is what I was finding weird is when we was investigating and she was doing the dowsing rods and stuff. Because I even said to I think Vincent at one point, I said, Vincent, what do you think our chances are of getting up there? Because I kept hearing footsteps above us.
Yeah.
Oh, in the vicinity of around us, but it was, and I'm pretty sure you heard it too.
Yeah, and it was attic rafters.
Right.
And so there it was open exposed attic rafters. So it's like anything walking up there that you can't hide who you are.
No, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I want to talk about that kid. That kid's like a bloody ninja, dude.
Oh yeah.
That kid's like a ninja, bro. You know what I'm talking about? The beginning.
Yeah, he was all over the place and
Yeah,
we were like, "Wait, where did you come from?"
but I will say we did. Oh, we didn't mention that we heard. Oh, you guys thought you'd heard jeans swaying.
Yeah, and see, none of us really were wearing jeans. And the kid that was in the building with us wasn't wearing jeans. And he
Yeah,
said he never heard that. And we
yeah,
were like, we definitely heard it. It was like the denim fabric when it rubs when you walk.
yeah. No, it's all in all, I think it was an interesting night. So we did that, and we was leaving. Do you want to tell them what happened when we left? Because you were pretty close to being the last one out of the room, right?
I was the last one out of the room, I think. I'm pretty
I
sure.
would actually
Or
agree with that.
I was either the last one or second to last because I was the last one while we took the turn to go down the hallway to go out to where the entrance is. But
Right.
actually, before we get to that story, I want to go back and touch on something with the dowsing rods that I thought was funny as all get out. Was we're talking and the rods are moving, and I commend Ashley because when we were inundating her too much, she would say, "Hold on,
Hmm.
reset the rods." She would actually take the time to tell the spirits, put the rods back, and then we could ask the next question. That you were like, they were like, we don't like you, and we all thought it was just because we were males, because
Right.
she told us they don't like men. So we
Hmm.
were like, well, we're screwed because we can't change that.
Right.
But you go and you said, is this something because of what I've done? And they said, yes, but it was in a past. You're like, well, how are you holding the past against me?
I know, right?
I literally started laughing because I was like, that's so true. We sit here, we think oh my, in one aspect, we're like, oh, that's cool that, we had this past life experience. And then at the same time, it's like, but I can't change the past life. It's done. It's over.
I know, it's crazy.
How
I
are you
actually
holding
forgot
that
about that.
against me? And then, a few minutes later, she gets to me and she's like, I got to stop and ask something. And it was because there was somebody I was recently associated with that I kind of not really associated much with anymore. And they said, yeah, it's because you know her. That's why, or that person, we don't want you here.
I
We
had
don't
double.
want to interact with you. And I was like, well, hell. And I even go, well, I'm not around her much anymore, that person. And they go, it doesn't matter. I'm
No,
like,
because
wow, they're the most unforgiving.
dude, you think you got it bad? I did something wrong in a past life, apparently,
No,
and they
but that's
still
what
didn't
I'm
forgive me.
saying is it's like we tried our best to remedy it and
Oh
like
no.
say what can we do? And they're like, nothing. You are doomed. You're forever marked.
I totally forgot about that. You got a good memory. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when they told me that. You just like you said. I'm like, well, am I meant to fix that? It is what it is, you know. So
Yeah. And the only person I think that skated out unscathed was Vincent. I don't think
yeah,
they ever
Vincent,
really picked on him. They just were like, I think maybe he passed a lot. Maybe that's why.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that for sure. He was more concentrating on the camera than anything, though. To be fair,
Yeah. Well,
I
and
mean, he
he
was
was
get.
hearing stuff in the hallways, and he kept trying to see what it was.
Yeah, I don't like them always, dude. I don't know what it is with always, but I feel vulnerable. Um, I
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
there's too many doors. It's like there's too many openings to where if you hear something, to be able to say, okay, that came from there.
Right, but then
It's like
you
when there's all these different possibilities, it's like, do I go forward? Do I go backwards? Do I duck into a room? I don't know where to go.
you know what my thought is? Which is the fastest way out of here if it goes south? That's normally my first thought. Just being
Yeah.
honest with you.
See, I'm wired to run towards the sound. I found that out.
I'm quite fine staying I'm quite fine staying and communicating at a distance. I don't feel the need to go and find out where the sound's coming from. If I feel the need for that, I'll volunteer a team member for that.
Who's my scapegoat? Who's the
But
who's the one
typically
that's not necessary to get home?
typically the one that I normally use is Logan, bless him, but Logan's not here right now, so he can't state his case. But I'm like, Logan, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah. I said, go see where it come from.
Yeah, I remember that. There was like a couple times that I was like, you and I were like, "Did you hear that?" Yeah, and you'd be looking at me. I could tell you wanted to send me, but I was the only one in the room with you, so you were like feeling screwed because you're
Oh, I
like,
know.
I can't
See,
send you.
Logan
But
said, nope, not me. Logan, you know, typically, like, what happened Saturday night when we were at Right Luck? We all think you out there, dude.
yeah, poor Vincent, man, he was the go-to guy that night.
uh, yeah. See, I like to have someone with me. I like to have someone with me that will. I just don't like being on my own, dude.
Yeah,
So, I
and the
mean,
funny
so,
thing too was leaving rooms. You would always be like, "Hey, Mike, where am I?" And I'm like, "You're at the end of the line." Yeah. Why am I at the end of the line? I should be in the middle of the line. I don't want to be the front of the line. So it's like we had to keep thinking. It's like we had to pause when we're leaving areas and be like, okay, hold
okay.
up.
So even working with my guests, when I work with guests and I let them experience it, dude. I cannot stand being at the back or the front of a line because I've got a theory on it. Right? If you're at the front, you're the first one in action. If you're at the back, you're the last one they can pick off. So for me, if I'm in middle, they're going to leave me alone. There's too many witnesses.
Yeah, I have
But what's
another theory, but if I did that, you would never go into a building.
so you know what sucked is the fact that there was only three of us.
Yep.
So I was I was like it felt like I was fighting for position most of the night. I was like, I am not getting left in here on my own. I don't like being at the back, and I don't like
Yeah.
being in front. But
But
what's the other theory?
I was gonna say the other theory is they pick off the middle because they know that's where the people who are the most scared are.
It's not.
Because well, if you think about it in a certain way, is if you're in the front, you're like your mindset is whatever's coming towards me, I can see it, so I got time to prep for it. If you're in the back, you're like, if something comes up behind me, there's nothing I can do anyway. But if something's coming up, I got the most time to prep myself and be able to defend. And if you're in the middle, you're just easy pickings.
I
Because you're like, you got nothing. They can
no,
come from in the middle and just swing across room to room,
I've
and
got
you
I've
got
got I've got that
nothing.
I've got that person in front of me that's going to get it first. That's my theory. So we was leaving that room, and I wasn't at the back, and I wasn't at the front either. I was somewhere in the middle. What happened after that, Mike?
So when we were in the room, there was some eyeball ping pong balls that were sitting around the floor, and we were talking about one, and we had set it down, and so we decided we were done. Session was over. We were going to take a break, and we start walking out. We get into the hallway. We get to the nurse's station. We turn. Everybody is in front of me, going towards the main area to where the door to the outside is. And everybody stops recording because, we're going outside. No point in recording just, people walking, although we
Mm-hmm.
should. And a ping pong ball hits the wall right behind me, starts rolling back, and I'm like, we all stop and turn. We're like, what was that? I was like, there's a friggin' ping pong ball just totally hit the wall right here and was bouncing. And so they were like, oh, did you kick it? I was like, no, if I kicked it, it wouldn't have made the bouncing sound. And we all heard the bounce, and then it hit the wall. And Vincent, bless his heart, goes, well, was it the same ping pong ball that was in the room? And you go, I don't know. Why don't you go check and find out? So, of course, Vincent goes into the room. We're all standing in the hallway, paused and trying to figure out what's going on. And next thing we know, he comes out. He goes, dude, that ping pong ball is missing.
So to talk on some while we're talking about this experience that we had, I typically find, and I don't know how long have you been doing the paranormal, real quick.
Investigating wise, 4 or 5 years now.
Okay, so any evidence that's typically caught, dude, is caught by accident. It's either caught when you're setting the camera up, or I think the spirits know when they've been recorded, dude. Because I typically get more activity when there's no cameras than we was. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do. And sometimes I think that's true. And sometimes I feel like they're in a mode where they want people to see. And so they're doing everything they can while you're filming to
But
get your attention.
But I also think there's another code where they can't let us know. Dude, I got to be honest with you, bro. I don't know what this planet would do if a spirit turned around and started saying, "Look, we're going to start showing ourselves. We're going to start living amongst you. We're alive. We're not alive, but we're here with you." I don't know what that would do to the society. So I also think there's a thing where they can't do what they want to do on camera because it's too much evidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And on the odd occasion that they've caught a full apparition, it's been complete accident.
See, that kind of piggybacks into when a lot of people ask me why I do it alone and with other teams and go to the same location over and over is I can walk into a room and have absolutely nothing happen that I hear or see. Doesn't mean I didn't catch anything on recording.
Right.
Then I can enter the same room, say with you,
Mm-hmm.
and a whole bunch of like knocks and other sounds goes off. You leave, I stay in the room, it can go quiet again. It's not that you are the one causing the knocks or, they're interacting with you. I view it as the spirits look at who's in the room and what is their intentions. Like, are you in this just for 15 minutes of fame?
Right.
Or are you really genuinely wanting to communicate? And so I think it's like, in my mind, I view the spirit world sees us in twofold: is the wannabes and the actuals.
Right.
And the people that are the actuals are the ones they open up and show themselves to and have the more experiences. And the wannabes, they're like, yeah, if I do this like I do with that person, they're gonna freak out, run out.
Right.
Why waste the energy? And so they'll
Yeah.
just sit there and wait.
So just to go on what you're saying. So I've been doing this almost 15 years, doing investigations and being able to somewhat, interact with spirits. She's seen me doing it, right?
Right.
I've been doing this almost 15 years. The more you do it, Michael, the more you get known throughout the spirit world. That's for a fact.
Yeah.
That is a fact. Our last team, they agreed with me. They never once thought about that. But when I told them about it, they're like, yeah, seems like we're getting more and more known. And different people have different abilities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
So,
I think too, like you're saying, the more and more you do it, I think it's also is the fact, like, I would go and investigate, and I wouldn't do a lot of EVP work because I would sit there and be like having these conversations and never getting anything. It's like,
right.
and the recordings would all be dead air. Maybe once I'll hear a sound, but I never would hear a voice. And so I'd always be like, well, I'll just stop doing that because that's not obviously my forte because they're doing it. They can do it easy. And I was at Fort Walters doing
Oh,
an investigation.
I was
This
just about to
was
say,
separate. This was a separate night. I was there with a couple of people, and I didn't even realize it, but something like you're saying, instincts, and the feelings. I was like, I turned around and I was like, why did I turn around? But in that moment, when I turn around, there's a female voice says hi.
okay.
I never heard the voice. And a bunch of people then started walking by, but that wasn't their voice. It's like it was distinctly before they were there.
Right.
And I was like, wow. And once I had that EVP experience, it's like I stopped everything I was doing to get the EVPs and just was like, you know what? I didn't ask a question. I just trusted my feelings.
And
That's what I need to do. Not
that's
try and force it. Just it'll happen when it happens.
yeah.
And if it does, great. And ever since I started doing that, I've been getting more and more EVPs.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what people need to do is trust their instincts, and
Yeah.
that's what and that goes back to the difference in the American way of investigating to the British way. We tend to trust our instincts a little bit more than say Americans do when they first start out, right? But
Right. Well,
eventually,
and
Eventually, you're going to learn that, though, through trial and error. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what you did. But I was going to say to you, Michael, why don't we talk about Fort Walters? Because we're at 50 minutes right now. So I want to go about an hour and a half. So we've got about 40 minutes left.
All right.
So, I mean, I think we can wrap Broken Bow up. I mean, I don't think there was much after that.
The only thing after that was that strange music that from the neighbors, and we heard what sounded like somebody came in the building when you convinced me to go in the mirror room and face my fear of the mirror room. And we were like,
I
we
forgot about that
stepped
shit.
2 feet in there. We're all in there for maybe like not even a full minute. And we hear a bang, and we're like, somebody's in here. We're like, oh, God, how do we get to the entrance really fast to see who came in?
I mean, to the point where I was telling Vincent, if you've got your pistol on you, you might want to draw it.
Yeah.
That's just, I do remember that. So, yeah, I mean, I forgot about that too. Bloody hell, my memory's shit. But, yeah, I remember, I'm like, you've got to do it, Michael. Just go in. All of a sudden, as soon as, it's like they didn't want you in there, buddy.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was like. It's almost like they didn't want you in there.
Yeah, whenever we would go into a room that we were uncomfortable with, something would happen to draw us out of that room.
Which begs the question, was it because they were protecting us?
I think it is. And I think they're watching out for us too, that they want us to, like you're saying, trust our feelings. Like if we're feeling uncomfortable, as investigators, we're going to stick it out because we're like, hey, we're in this for the evidence, the communication, the experience. We're going to let that override our instinct. And they were like, hey, we'll help you out. We'll give your instincts exactly what you need to draw your attention out of where you don't want to be.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's crazy. I think all in all, Broken Bow is a pretty decent investigation. I think it's either on or it's not. That's my opinion of it after 2 investigations. It's either on or it's not.
Yeah. Thing I love about going to locations multiple times is you'll rarely have the same experiences each time. Something will always be different, so it's always still fun. Whether it's your first time, your 10th time, your 100th time, something inevitably is going to be different, and that's the fun of it.
Right. And that brings me on to Fort Walters as a whole. So I've done several investigations at Beach Army Hospital. I can't access it no more. It sucks. I wish we could get access to that every week. Because if we could access that every week, Mike, we'd have a ton of evidence.
Oh, yeah. I was so mad. I went there the last night it was open. I was there investigating. I put all my footage on a computer. The computer drive failed, and I lost the footage. So I can't get it back.
I mean, people sneak in there all the time, but no, my luck, I'd sneak in and they get arrested.
Well, and my theory on that is, I could sneak in, but the second I post anything, they're gonna know I was there. It's like I can't post, and it's not respectful. And I'm like, I personally want to be an investigator that's got the integrity of, if I go into a space, it's because I got permission to be there.
Right. Yeah. So let me tell you just a few things I had at Beach Army Hospital real quick. I've had stones thrown at me. I've had doors opening and closing on their own. We've had footsteps. There was 15 guests and myself, and all 15 of my guests heard. And you know what? You know what's messed up about it, Mike? It's the fact that it was directly to the side of my ear. I said, "Did you guys hear that?" And they're like, "Yeah, we all heard that." That place is phenomenal. Now, here's the cool thing about it. We did lose that location, right?
Right.
But here's a cool thing. just across the way, if you look at the PX store and the bank, it's literally diagonally across from Beach Army Hospital.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of the spirits that was at Beach Army Hospital have now, because it's like whenever we do an investigation, it's like a beacon.
Yeah.
And it's
Now,
drawing them in.
I can kind of explain that a little bit. Is some of the hospital beds and some of the beds that are around in the haunted house
I'm still
section of
listening.
it
I'm just grabbing a drink. I'll be right back. I'm
are
still listening.
Beach Army. So she got permission to bring stuff from Beach Army to the PX. So that's why we feel like there are spirits from Beach Army residing at the PX.
No, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And that's what I said as well. Like, and not only that, she's got spirits attached to other items there as well.
Oh yeah.
It's a really good location. It's a really good location.
Yeah, I've investigated there probably 7 times maybe. And my favorite experience overall being there was I was investigating with Southern Fried Spirits Paranormal. And this couple comes up to me, they're in the doll room, and says, "We've been hearing this laugh every 12 minutes or 15 minutes." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, laugh?" I was here last night. There was no laugh. I had been here several times before. I helped set up. I've heard bangs in that room, but I've never heard a laugh. And sure enough, we all sat there and we ended up spending 2 to 2.5 hours trying to isolate this laugh. And it was driving us insane. And I
Do you have
think it
that
was
on video?
I do have it on video, the laugh. And
Could you send that?
yeah.
Sweet.
And the funny thing about it is we had enough people that we created a circle in the center of the doll room. You remember the doll room, how it's laid out with those 2 beds?
How can you forget that bloody place?
Well, we're sitting there and we're all experienced paranormal investigators. You know, we're not like there's a bunch of people who this is their first time and they don't know what they're doing. You know, we're pretty much all experienced. And I say that because after 2.5 hours, we had to give up. We could not isolate the sound. It kept moving. Like I would stand facing a wall and I'd hear it on my right. Then the next time it came out, I'd say, no, it's on my left, or it's behind me, or I heard it in front of me. Nobody ever could say it's exactly where I heard it before.
That's crazy.
It was constantly moving. So I go the next week, Friday, with a couple, Carla and Tony, and we were going to try and figure out what a lot of the stuff we heard that Saturday night with Carla's team. And we could not still figure out where the giggle was, but we still heard it. And that was the other thing that got me wild, is I was like, I heard it a second time. I've never really had experiences repeat, and this one was repeating. And we, to this day, we think we figured out what the doll giggle was, and there is a doll that has a speaker in it, but you have to put batteries in it to make the sound. And there's no batteries in them. When we investigate, you know, all the batteries are gone.
Right.
But here's the other thing that kind of gives me the chills a little bit. During the haunted house in October, when it's run as a haunted house, the people who were supposed to scare everybody were coming out and complaining there was a giggle or a girl in that room that was messing with them. And so I was like, oh man, I was like, that is just too cool. So it's like I got with the PX and the bank being part of the haunted house crew, I get to hear all the experiences and witness stuff during haunt season every weekend. And when I go and get to investigate, I get, to experience it that too. And so it's like I have such a wide range of when people come and talk to me about stuff, they all know I'm paranormal there. And so they'll come and say, oh, we just had this happen here. And I'm like, really? And if it's haunt season, I can't go and verify what they heard or anything. I just have to log it in my brain for when I get a chance to go back, because I can't stop a show and say, hey, what? Let's go investigate this.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Logan's still with us or not. I know he was watching just a minute ago. But I will tell you that's Logan's favorite, is the doll room. I'm saying that sarcastically because he hates that crap.
Those dolls drive me nuts.
I gotta say I'm not a fan of the dolls. So let's talk about the Power Unity event that we had. So we did, we mingled for a bit, and then we went and did a quick investigation together to where.
Before we do that, let's preface what we mean by Para Unity, because I've been hearing a lot of people throw that out. And everyone's like, I don't believe this or that. When we say Para Unity, we're talking about paranormal teams and paranormal investigators who investigate on their own, people who have never investigated but are interested, gathering in one place and investigating just like you would if you were doing this for, like 15 years.
Right.
It was run, so there was no, you're new, so just watch. It was like, no, we throw you into the deep end, we explain what we're doing, and then we do it.
I think what's cool about that, though, Michael, is the fact that you get to see the different style and different techniques of investigating.
Right.
I mean, that's what I like about that, because everyone's got a different way of investigating.
Yeah. And I was in the Chelsea room with Chelsea, the doll from Destination Fears, how it got her name.
Right.
Is, if you remember the episode, the black mist appears behind or coming out of the doll.
I gotta say, I've not actually seen it.
And so, it's a really cool episode. It's on Discovery Plus. If we could ever get sponsored, hey, we'll advertise. But and when I watched the episode, I was like, wow, if I saw that, I'd be just like Chelsea, like freaking out, knocking stuff off the table and screaming probably, because that was just incredible to see. But the thing that I liked about the Para Unity event was, yes, that was my room, but Kellen was in there. Phoenix came in a little bit into it.
I was in there with you.
Yeah, you were there. And I started by talking and saying, this is this, and we can do this. And this is what's, the history of the doll. And I was like, so this is how we investigate is, we can ask questions. And we started asking questions and was filming and just waiting and hearing. And then Kellen came in and he's like, hey, do you guys want to do EVP work? And I said, yeah, let's do it. That to me was the Para Unity, is we just shared the space. We shared the spotlight, so to speak.
I agree.
And said to people, yeah, this is how we do this.
Yeah.
This is what this method is. And then did it. And we even went as far as to, like, if somebody shifted in their chair, go, oh, that was so-and-so shifting, and saying,
right. And you're talking about EVP, right?
Right. And saying when we're recording, you gotta make note when you move or make a sound, because you may be listening a week or two later, you're not gonna remember and think, "Oh my God, look at what Spirit did," and then somebody else will go, "Dude, remember that was you," and you're gonna feel stupid.
Right. So I know that we investigated real quick together. I don't think there was too much, right, for us.
No, we
It
we
was
didn't stay with the Chelsea doll very long
I
because
so
the buildings just started going active. We were hearing footsteps in
yeah.
other
I do
parts of the
remember
room.
that. I do remember that because we were definitely before I said I'm done because I was getting overwhelmed in that room. I truly was getting overwhelmed in that room, and I tell you
Yeah.
this, I normally have you. I surprised myself because I had to find my way out to go and have a cigarette break.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard that was to go out on my own?
Oh, I know. I was laughing inside because I was like, so they're going, wow, Andrew must really be overwhelmed that he is leading his own self out of the building, and he's going to be the last one out, and he's going to be in the middle because he's all by himself,
I'm the first
going
one and the
room by
last one.
room.
You know what sucked as well, dude, is I could not find my way out. I
I
couldn't.
know.
I just couldn't find my way out, bro.
And
So I'll tell you my experience that night, and then because I know we split up and we didn't see each other the rest of the night. So I can tell you my side of it, and I don't have no recordings because I don't have a camera. But that's the thing I'm going to do is eventually I want to get a camera so I can at least, if not while I'm investigating, just get some of the shots and the perspectives, and I can put it on my Facebook page. You know what I mean?
right.
Right now, that's something I'm looking into. I don't know what a good camera is, but anyway, that's not up for discussion. So you were at first. I went with you, and we were in footsteps, and I said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm getting overwhelmed. I left, and it took me 15 minutes to get out. It felt like it, but it was like 2. So I did that, and then what happened after that? I went outside, and I must have smoked like 10 cigarettes, I think. And then I went back inside, and I started talking to Chris Brock. You remember that guy?
Um, I might remember.
So he's the guy
I
that
met a
said,
lot of people that night.
right. So that guy is a pretty decent, like, he can draw pretty decent. And I got talking to him about my SB7 and my portal and my K2 and stuff. I said, you know what? You ready to go investigate? I'll take you around. We'll go around and see what we can find. So we're going around, and he draws this spirit that he thought was my spirit guide, but it turns out it wasn't my spirit guide. This guy looked like he had a Russian uniform on, dude.
Really?
Like, it's not Russian actually. It was OCP back in the or USSR back in the day. So you know the old Soviet Union.
Right.
So he drew that picture, and I've got the picture, and actually I found the uniform that almost matches the picture. So I do need to post that on my Facebook page, and you can check that out. So then I'm like, you know what? Let's go see what else is going on. And then we met. What's the lady called that runs the paranormal thing? Forgot the name of it. Not Shauna, the elder lady. Her husband used to be Ken.
Oh, Eileen.
Yeah. So we met Eileen and another lady in there, and she was doing dowsing rods, and I totally forgot when I'm around dowsing
Haley.
rods.
That
Haley,
was
that's the
Haley.
one. Yeah. So I said, you know what? Can you have some questions for me? And they're like, yeah, no worries. So she's got her dowsing rods out and all this good stuff, and you know, we were getting some answers. But what was freaking me out, dude? I know it was windy that night, right?
Right.
It was definitely windy that night, but we was getting knocks, and we wasn't by any windows. There was no windows, and I could physically feel the knocks coming from the fake walls I've got.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
knocking on the fake wall. So, like, we had that for about 15 minutes where it was knocking and stuff. I said, you know what? Let's go to toilets. Because the last time I was at you already know what's coming because you heard about this. So I I get all four of us and we go to the toilet. Because the time before that, I had the toilet door open on me. It was on camera. Justin got it on camera. So I'm sat there. I said, you know, the last time I was in here, I had a door open on us. Never expected this in a million years. So I'm sat in this toilet, and there's four of us, and we're all in a line. And coincidentally, I'm stood where I've signed my name, and Logan signed his name as well. And I hear this tap behind me, so I look behind me, and I'm like, oh, that's a coincidence. I'm stood directly where I signed my name. And I see a flashlight come from my left because I'm facing the toilets. And I see a flashlight come from my right. The flashlight from my left, this lady pops her head in, and I'm like, oh, come join us. You're fine. You know, you're not disturbing us. Come see what we're doing. She decided she didn't want to. Flashlight on us right. The door creaked open. The flashlight came through. I said, oh, come on in. You're good. You're not disturbing us. Flashlight turns off. Door closes. No more than 5 seconds later, me and Chris went out there. There was nobody there. There was absolutely nobody there. And unbeknownst to me at that time, I was creating a little bit of a spectacle for people because I guess they could see orbs flying around or something like that, and they said there was no one in the hallway when that door opened.
Yeah.
So,
Just for funny fact is on a side note, I was in the bank building when this happened with Kellen and some other people.
right.
And somebody came, I think it was Cindy, came over to the bank building and we are like, and she found us and she was like, oh my God, you guys are never going to guess what happened. I said, and I was like, what? And she goes, they just had a flashlight and a door open in the bathroom in the PX. And I was like, you're kidding. I was like, no. And she's like, no. So when this happened, they actually came and told us in the bank what was going on in the PX. That's how wild everybody was and how excited everybody was to see what was going on with your experience.
I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better experience, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that other people was able to join in that experience as well. I mean, there was Eileen, Ailey, Chris, and myself.
Yeah.
And we went out there, we didn't find anything. There's nobody there, dude. There was nobody. So after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go out back, smoke a cigarette. Because I was talking to the guy that was running the live video for the
Steven.
the Power Unity event thing.
Yeah. Steven was doing that for Paranormal
Yeah.
United Network.
So I was explaining to Stephen what had gone off, and Stephen said, I know, we saw what happened. That's why I've come down to talk to you. I'm like, all right, cool. On a side note, there was a big ass tarantula outside, dude.
Yeah, I saw the photos.
No, I thought that, dude. So I don't like spiders, but I gotta say though, I like the. I wouldn't have one, but I think they're cute though. The way they just kind of walk around. Anyway, so I got bored and I went back inside, and then I got Ailey, and the other lady.
Eileen?
No, there's another young lady. I forgot her name. Hangs out with Ailey, I guess. She's always working the till back there, register.
Yeah, Samantha. I think it was Samantha.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I haven't been to the PX office, the bank yet, and I'm like, I don't want to go over there on my own. So they both volunteered. I went to the bank, and to be honest with you, it felt kind of flat in there when I first got in, until I stepped away into where the vault was, and I was like, oh, this is starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And they're like, oh, I don't feel anything. We feel great, right? Yeah. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of done. And they said, you've only done half a building. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm done, though. They said, nah, come over here with us. So then I get my K2 out. And then we actually have this on video. And I start getting responses with a K2, right?
Yeah.
So I turned around and I said, do you want to play Red Rover, Red Rover? I said, I don't know how to play it, but these do. And they're like, yeah, no worries. We know how to do it. So they're playing Red Rover, Red Rover. And of course, they didn't choose me first. So like Red Rover, can Ailey come over? And, like, and it flashed, right? So she went over.
Right.
And they were like, Red Rover. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. So they're like, Red Rover, can Sam come over? And it flashed. And then they were like, Red Rover, can Andy come over? No
Nothing.
And I basically said, fuck that, I'm out. At that point,
Yep.
I'm like, I'm done. At that point, I'm done. So, I mean, that was my night in a nutshell.
Yeah. So my night was a little more interesting in the fact that we were still hearing things in the PX before, and we decided, well, we're kind of done with Chelsea. We kind of felt like she was done doing her little show if we got anything. And we were like, hey, let's go check out, see if the little girl is over at the bank. So we go over and we start trying to talk to spirits that Kellen, Phoenix, and I think Cindy might have been with us on a couple of those, where we got EVPs on prior investigations. So we took people who had never investigated there before with us and started trying to re-engage these spirits. And we were getting some interesting reactions to some of the questions. And we decided, well, let's go to the other side and see what's going on over there. And we asked a few questions, and then Kellen and I were like, hey, let's do an experiment. Let's put a telephone in the vault, and we'll stay here on the direct diagonal to the vault on the other side. And so we're like, great. So while he's walking over there, my phone's connected to his phone on speaker, and I can hear him interacting with people. And so I just having some fun, start whispering into the phone. And just as he's about to get to the vault, I hear my friend Tony. And she says something. And so I go into the phone, Tony. And we're like, go. And then all of a sudden I hear, okay, I'm putting the phone down in here and I'm going to start recording. Great. Well, we found out he had already started recording. And we were asked some questions. And we started getting knock responses to certain names. And I start hearing that, like, if we say a certain name, a certain sound will happen. And I'm like, okay, I think and so I'll ask another question around that name and get a sound. And so they're like, okay, well, this is interesting. And Kellen goes, well, let's go hear what we got. At the very beginning of the tape, it sounds like somebody goes, company, or show me the money. And we're like, so we're racking our brains. And I had body cam running, and the IR didn't kick in, so I have no footage, just audio. And the audio doesn't match with my software, so I couldn't upload it to it. And I was like, all right, well, that's frustrating. So I took the clip of me saying Tony next to company, and Kellen goes, damn, I think that is you saying Tony. And I was like, it totally, we could not recognize my voice on that,
Wow.
his recording. And on
Wow.
my video, it doesn't sound like me at all, but it's the exact same time in both videos where I say Tony and he goes, okay, I'm setting it down. Then we hear company. Okay,
Oh
I'm
wow.
setting it down. And I was like, wow. So it's like, is it an EVP or isn't it? I don't know because it's at the exact same time, but it doesn't sound like me and it doesn't sound like the word I said. But who's to say, telephones distort voices, so maybe it is my voice and maybe it is saying that,
Right.
but that's not what we heard. So I don't really count it as saying, hey, we got an EVP. But at the same time, I count it as we may have an EVP because I'm still not convinced it's my voice,
Right.
but I'm not going to argue it either. And that's the thing too with, being para-unity and paranormal is, we can't sit there and say, yes, this is this, or no, this isn't this.
Right.
Because everybody hears something different. There is no expert to go to say, yes, what you got is this.
Right.
This is your voice. So we just have to follow our own integrity and say, yep, or nope.
I got you. Well, I mean, overall, that place is amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back. To be honest with you, whenever I
But
get invited, I'm always all about going back there.
yeah, I was talking to somebody about um actually it was, I think it might have been Dan LaFave at Ballinger.
Hmm.
I pulled him aside and I was telling him I was playing a cadence. I may have the person wrong because I've told this to a few people,
Right.
but I was playing a cadence because it was a military base and in Vietnam and World War II. So playing a military cadence, that's a good trigger. Well, it's doing its verbiage, and then there's like a pause in the verbiage, and it starts playing again. What's unique is in the pause, before I tell you what's there, I'm going to preface it by saying I was the only male in the room, in the building, with two females. And all of a sudden, this male voice in that little gap, we hear pause it. Clear as day.
Wow.
And the cadence keeps going. And I said to my friends that I was with, I said, I didn't say pause it, did I? And they laughed and they said, I hear pause it, but let's be honest. If you had said pause it, we would have paused it. I said, yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. But yeah.
So
So
cadence. I'm not familiar with cadence.
cadence is like a march song. It's a song they sing while they're marching around, doing their little maneuver training, running around the base doing.
I think it depends on the branch, right?
I think they all have cadences, but they're different. Yeah,
Were
they're.
you doing Army, Marine?
I think I was doing Army because it was an Army base.
Right. So that dates right back to World War One, actually.
Yeah, World War One
Yeah.
to World War Two,
World War
or
Two was POW camp.
yeah, it was a German POW camp. But Audie Murphy trained there. He was the most decorated soldier. And a little known fun fact is the worst soldier also trained there. So they had the
Great.
both sides
So
of the
what?
coin.
I don't know. I would class a worst soldier. What was the worst soldier?
I don't remember his name, but we had documentation that said, yeah, the worst soldier in the war trained here as well as Audie Murphy. So it's like
I
a
mean,
fun little story.
wow. I'll have to check that one out. So I mean, how would you rate that place? If you were like doing 1 to 5, one, it's not too scary. 5 to it's oh shit, I'm out.
I would say, depending on the night, it would be 5 to 7.
On a 1 to 5.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is some nights it would be 5. Is yeah, there's a lot going on, but I'd run, but I'm too curious to run. So most people would probably be running right now. To 7 has gone. Yeah, there's so much stuff going on. I got to get out and take a.
Uh,
I got to step outside and take a break.
I totally agree with you, dude. So real quick, I think we're gonna have to end it, but real quick, I tend to find that spirits know your Achilles heel, and
Oh yeah,
like I've been to multiple places where they bring out something that they think will scare you, and I don't know. It's just coincidental that whenever I'm doing investigations, there's a big. It's been on more than one occasion. There's a tarantula. There's a snake. There's something out there that you don't want to play with, and it kind of makes you think, "Oh, I'm not. I don't want to go back in that place." You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's weird, dude. But I mean, for me, I can't explain the door opening, dude. I wish I could.
yeah. And to be honest, I've been in that bathroom so many times, and one time it's like I seen the shadow on the door, and it looked like it got bigger and then smaller. But every time I looked at it, it's like I saw it move just a little differently. And so I was like, either I started telling myself, either I'm getting tired of looking at this footage and my mind's playing tricks on me,
Right.
or something's having fun with me right now. And I got something and it's just having fun with me watching it.
So a friend that was in the military told me maybe. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's just weird. But maybe he thought he was still on Firewatch.
That could be.
You know what I mean? Because when the base was closed down at night, they would have someone doing security around that area. So maybe he just thought he was on Firewatch and he was doing what he was meant to be doing.
Yeah, doing his rounds.
So yeah, so it's the craziest experience. And I don't know if there was someone there, but I tell you, if someone can disappear in 5 seconds, and we checked all the rooms, I don't know how that would be. So I mean, I just can't explain it. And for people to sit there watching us, knowing that we were getting activity, I'm
Yeah,
guessing they were seeing. I'm guessing they were seeing orbs and all that good stuff. You know what I mean?
right.
But I can't wait to go back to that place, and I hope one day that they open up Beach Army Hospital.
Yeah, there's a few things that got to be done to reopen Beach Army. That's the main hindrance, and so that may take some doing. But I will say, Shauna asked me and a bunch of others. That's who formed the tribe. Is we're investigators, and when she wants to know if a place is haunted or not, it's because she wants to be honest with it. We go out and check it out. And from the first day we were there to today, I can honestly say this is one building that I would have no problem saying that both of those locations are haunted. The bank building, maybe not as haunted as much as the PX, but there are things that happen in the bank I can't explain, so I can't discount it and say one is really more than the other. It's just they're different.
And again, I think a lot of the spirits, and I tell you why I think a lot of the spirit that I was brought to in the bank is definitely one from Beach Army. I 100% same feeling, same spirit,
Yeah.
same
And
spirit.
it kind of makes sense because if you think about it, the PX was like the store, The bank building would be where they get their money and deposit their checks. And the hospital, you'd have to pay for stuff. So you'd probably have to go to the bank to get money if you didn't have it on you.
Right.
So it makes sense that those three buildings may be, connected and easy for those spirits to say, yeah, let's go over here. That's where they're at.
I think a lot of people make a mistake in the fact that they think the spirits that reside at a location are stuck at that location.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. They aren't stuck there, dude. I mean,
No.
that's how you end up with a spirit coming home with you. If that spirit wants to come home with you, it will come home with you unless you do preventative measures, right?
Right. And that's one of my favorite questions I get asked a lot on is, how do you keep the spirits where they are? And I laugh and I go, spirit's not locked there. Now, some traumas may be where they are locked there, experience that traumatic event, but I don't think majority of the spirits are locked to that. Like, say, the soldiers of Gettysburg can't go to Shiloh. I feel like, yeah, they can. But a soldier from Europe, like that died, say, at the Battle of Culloden, you're not going to see him in America, most likely, because that's such a long way. But that was such a traumatic experience for Scottish to be facing what they faced and the conditions they faced at that battle. They're probably going to stay there. But
they might move.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they can't travel around the area.
Right.
I'm just saying I don't see them crossing the ocean to come to America and say, "Hey, we're in America."
Well, I can tell you, my sister has 100%.
Well, family, that's a little different,
right? But I'm just saying, my sister has though.
Yeah,
and I'm not comparing that to the soldier. I'm just saying spirits can.
Yeah, but what I'm meaning is the soldiers of Culloden had no idea about America, so they're not going to go, "Hey, let's go check out what they're talking about over here." They're focused on what they have. That's not saying they don't see it.
But then again, they could have ancestors over here.
Descendants. They would have to have descendants.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Now, the descendants can call them over.
Right.
And, that way, as a trigger object can bring them, I don't think they would stay. I think they'd go back to their homeland.
I think we're both on the same page. A spirit isn't stuck.
Yeah. They can travel wherever. And
yeah,
I told people, I was like, you better watch it when I'm haunted. And if I become a spirit and they go, wow, I was like, there's nowhere you can hide.
I know, right?
If you're gonna go to Australia, I'll be like, dude, I can get to Australia as a spirit. Real quick.
I don't know about that, bro, because there's a lot of stuff in Australia that could kill you. I don't know if there's something over there that could kill a spirit. I don't know if I'd risk it or not.
Yeah, but I'd be like, shoot, if I couldn't do it in life, I'll do it in death. Just be like, I finally made all 7 continents.
Yeah, but just to wrap it up, I agree with you. The Scottish aren't going to come over here unless they've got descendants over here. But spirits aren't stuck.
No,
spirits are definitely not stuck. And I know for a fact, like you said, that they've got some stuff from the Beach Army Hospital, and the reason I get freaked out more than anything is some of that stuff is located in the basement. It was located in the basement in the back corner, and that's where one of the most negative spirits were. And I think that negative spirit followed that equipment.
Yeah. Well, we kind of did a little deal when we said goodbye to the Nazareth, and we were opening up the PX and the bank buildings. One for the Texas Fairgrounds Haunted House, best haunted house to go to in October.
Totally agree.
Little plug there.
Yeah.
And 2 was, the haunted paranormal stuff. We invited all the spirits that wanted to from the Nazareth to come to the PX and the bank buildings, because that's where we were going to be investigating, and said, you're welcome to follow us and join us there and, communicate with us there.
Right.
We didn't say, hey, you guys can go wherever you want.
Right.
We asked, and so we've been getting quite a few responses to where, it's like we feel like Mr. Trippy from the Nazareth is there.
Well,
Some of the other...
maybe we should try and figure something out between us and try and rent that out and go out there and investigate it. Have a small group.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm always down to go to the PX.
I don't know what the cost is going to be, so we'll have to try and figure that out and then figure out how many people we need. We'll have to talk to Shauna about it.
Yep, Shauna Lee Anderson's the one to talk to for Fort Walters.
So if you're interested in it,
we'll
try and figure something out on that.
Yeah,
and
just want to give a little plug to Shauna Lee Anderson. She runs Carpe Noctum and Texas Scaregrounds. She is an awesome person and friend. Yeah. And if you ever want to investigate, her number is on the Fort Walters Paranormal page on Facebook. It's the @ Fort Walters 76067 if you want to go find it. And you can follow a tag, or I have some posts that'll lead you there, and just send her a text and she'll work with you. She's the most friendliest, lowliest person to work with. And so if you ever get a chance, I would say go and investigate the PX and the bank building.
Totally agree. Thank you for mentioning Shauna. That saved me doing it. So I want to say thank you for joining me.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally got it to work.
I'm sure that we could do something else. I know you were at Ballinger, but we've run out of time for that. So I've had experiences at Ballinger too. So maybe we could talk about that one day, another time. Yeah. I just want to let everyone know before you leave, Michael, and also you, if you're interested in listening as well. You can find me on Facebook. We've got Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts now too. We're also on Amazon. So they're the 3 major brands. Oh, and Anchor FM. So if you want to listen to us, you can go listen to us on that. And we've also got TikTok.
There you
believe
go.
It or not. And that's a crazy thought of a Brit, I believe. So thank you for joining me. And I really appreciate you. And hopefully we get to hang out again sometime. We'll try and arrange something. Maybe we could do a Facebook Live, show them around or something. And, show them how we investigate and stuff. So, I'm looking forward to it, dude.
Definitely. And one thing I'll say is if you get a chance, if you check out my YouTube page, I sometimes will post full investigations if I feel like some stuff that happened that people might learn how we do things from.
Right.
And sometimes I'll post a short version of it where I finally figured out how to trim videos just so you see evidence. But a real quick shout out I would like to make, if I can, is Robbie Spencer of Erie Expeditions Paranormal. And I want to say this right because he just started this Night Owl Paranormal Society. We recently collaborated and did a live investigation of the battleship USS North Carolina. Nice. Where Kimberly Van Helden of Amined Paranormal and I guest investigated with them while they were investigating the North Carolina. And I have a video. It's 7 hours maybe a little bit longer than 7 hours. That's the full investigation. And my part, shockingly, was I stayed awake for 6 hours doing this live. I had
Oh,
no
wow.
idea 6 hours had passed.
Wow. That's impressive.
So you can check it out on
When did you do that?
April 30th on a Saturday night.
That's awesome, dude. Was it a long drive? Did you fly?
Actually, I did it all from my computer where I'm sitting right here talking to you.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah. So, anyway, Michael, that's awesome. What's your YouTube? How did they search you up?
My YouTube is Michael, spelled EAL Cough. It's linked to my Facebook page, so if you can find my Facebook page, I finally did figure out how to link my YouTube channel to that.
Perfect.
And you can see my evolution of how I investigated to how I've learned how to make the videos to now I can add music even
Sweet.
to them. So it's kind of, I call it my paranormal journey, but it's also my learning curve too. So
I got you. Well, as long as I've been doing this, I'm still learning.
yeah.
And I don't think we'll ever completely understand it.
Nope.
I think whenever you investigate, there's always something new. But thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you, dude. Thank you, everyone that watched us. Don't forget Spotify. We're on Anchor. We're on Apple, and we're also on Amazon now. You all have a good night. Good night, Michael.
Good night.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Uh-oh. I got a slight technical issue.
Gotta hit that stop recording button.
Good night, guys. Bye-bye.